We are exactly 3 days from the day, folks. This is the day that everyone associates with the holidays. And I remember, Gio, when I was little, I couldn't wait for Christmas. The tradition in the house is that if you were good and you woke up on Christmas Day, there would be a present under your pillow. We didn't have Christmas trees. There was a present under my pillow. And when I got that, it was crazy good. And as I grew up, I found myself not anticipating Christmas the same way. And so for me, for a good while, it's been about surviving the holidays, not something that I anticipate the way I used to anticipate it when I was a child. Maybe it's something I survived. I survived the dinners. I see all the families. Not that I don't love them, but the same euphoria, the same feeling I used to get when I was little, I don't get anymore. And yet, the holidays are supposed to be about love, aren't they? So this conversation we're having this morning, Giovanni, I'm excited about it. It's not about tips for better holidays. It's about being a new way of being human during the holidays. An invitation to interrupt the default way of being around the holidays and leave us in a new space, a new world, a new paradigm for the holidays. So I don't know what it was like for you when you were little, but what is it like today? And how do you want to dip your toes in this conversation?
This is very interesting for me as you're creating the context of this conversation, right? How to show up in the holidays in a way that lives you and everyone empower, creating connection and intimacy and possibility, right? And have the difficult conversations. And what I mean by the difficult conversations are the conversations that create connection and love and intimacy and possibility. And I really see myself identify with what you're saying. And it's very interesting that as an adult, with all the tools that the adult has, right? One could say a little bit of experience. The adult, we have experience. And also we are a little bit better equipped with with equipped to manage different personalities, and we are a little bit better equipped to get connected with people and to forgive them. And we could say we're a little bit better equipped, right, than the child is, than a child is. And as you're saying that, I can see myself surviving the holidays too. Like, oh, here comes the dinner. All right, let me make sure the dinner is correct. Let me make sure everybody has a plate. Let me make sure that everybody has fun, right? Let me make sure that nobody fights. Let me make sure that things are just fine. Let me just make sure. And and I can see that when I go to bed, it's like, ah, finally everyone
It's
left. It's so
over.
great. And when, or I'm finally home or something, and it's about survival. And when I was a child, Sorrel, it wasn't like that.
Yeah,
There was no survival, right? There was
just being with the
just
holidays, right?
being. Yeah, and there was no past to compare it to. So whoever was there was great, right? If the crazy uncle came, the crazy uncle came. It was okay, right? It didn't matter. There was no judgment. There was no comparison. There was just a possibility of that the holidays is. There was no future. Obviously, I needed the gift. As a
Oh
child,
yeah.
I needed
I
the
mean, if
gift.
I
Of
don't get a
course. Then
gift,
it will be
I'd be in
empty.
tears.
But it wasn't about which gift. It was any gift.
Yeah.
It was about any gift, right? So it's very interesting. And I think that as an adult, one of the things that it's in our it's in my blind spot, in our conversations with the people we love, is that it's like it it's like a snake. It comes in a very sneaky way. Conversations about comparison
Mm,
or who's right.
mm.
It sneaks up on me, and it sneaks up on people, or making someone wrong for what happened, or that certainly for me, I've got to be good. I've got to show up good.
The thing that I do remember as you're speaking about these conversations, it's almost as if there's being a child and anticipating Christmas, and then there's something we lose along the way. And I think what we lose is what you're pointing to, Gio. I remember when I first started comparing gifts. Like you mentioned that was any gift, right? Any gift, and I'm happy. But no, there was a time when I started comparing gifts. And if my brother got the gift that I thought was better than mine, my Christmas wasn't so great. And if I got the gift that I think was better than his Christmas wasn't so great. So something started deteriorating, right? So we end up staying safe. Around the holidays, we have conversations about sports, which team's gonna win, who's playing who, and nobody cares about those teams anyway. We even talk about the weather, God forbid, politics, the kind of surface level conversations and updates that leave us not even informed. When really, real conversations that we could have, the kind that you're pointing to, that generate connection, that threaten identity in a way. You
I
know,
think one of the things that you're pointing to, and I hope that we all can see it, because I'm really seeing it as you're pointing to it. At some point, the holidays becomes a threat to one's identity. Like it sneaks up on me, like it sneaks up on you. It's like, yes, there is the hype about the holidays, there is the music, and then there is the possibility of being with family, and then there's the possibility of the gifts. But we can't see it at what point the identity becomes threatening. And I love the example you're giving, right? Because it's so real. As a child, I'm not looking for it, and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, but I didn't get the gift that my brother got. My brother got the bicycle, and I
and I
got
got
clothes. Like, what the hell? I don't want clothes, right? Like, who wants clothes? I want the bicycle or the video game, right? So it starts becoming an identity threat. And as
yeah,
an adult, we don't care about the bicycle, we don't care about the clothes, but we could see how it becomes about how was your year? Were you successful?
yeah,
Was it a successful year? Then I'm going to show up as successful. Then it wasn't a successful year. I'm going to show up as it wasn't successful. So I'm going to hide it. But then I feel less than one person or another person has to feel shy about their success. It becomes a threat to the identity. And we
totally.
can't see it. So we
Yeah,
go, I'll say this one thing. So, because I
yeah,
love the bridge you make. So then we go into the survival and then we go into the small conversations because anyone can talk about the weather. I mean, for Christ's sake, even politics is less threatening than to talk about how I feel, because at least I can fight about something, but I'm not going to fight about how I feel. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. And the threat you're pointing to is real, right? Because the holidays come. I have to have the money to buy the gifts. And so even when I'm the one buying gifts, there's something there about my own survival. It's a threat to me. The whole thing becomes a threat. And I think it's all tied into the fact that uh, I think we've forgotten the purpose of the holidays. And one other thing is that we also confuse the things we get during the holidays with what we really want. The box is under the tree. Maybe it's a small box with a ring in it. There's a big box under the tree. Maybe it's an Xbox. Maybe it's a PlayStation. And everyone's comparing. And suddenly in the background, there's this conversation going on. If you love me, you would. If you love me, you would know what I want. If you love me, you would have given me this. And so the hard truth is, we don't ask for what we really want. We want love, we want connections, but we ask for the representations of those things, the symbols. And then we spend our lives surrounded by things and starving for connection.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I love how you're pointing it. So, I don't go around asking for love, right? Because it's so vulnerable. Like, can I get some love today? I'm not, the bar for love is a little low. I need a little bit of love here. And we don't go around asking for it, but we do celebrate this gift exchange. And the symbol of the ring, the symbol of the clothes, the symbol of the perfumes, the symbol of whatever, the Xbox, it becomes the representation of love, and we can't see that it's not connection. And so
Yeah,
I love how you're saying it. I eventually become surrounded by things. I got the perfume, I got the cologne, I got the scarf, I got I got the car, I got the tires, I got the thing, but I don't have connection. At some point, I can't see it what that in at some point I can't see that the things I get or the things I give are not love itself. It's not what I actually really want. It's just sneaks up on me. I get the cologne, then I say, well, that's some version of love. So then I go back into my cave or I go back into my house. But I never really have a conversation of love. I never really have the experience of it because it's such a threat. So I'll just stay
yeah,
with the cologne. Yeah, I like
yeah.
it.
And the thing is, I don't ask for it, yet I want it. So this conversation isn't about don't give gifts, right? That's not what we're saying. Remember, this conversation is not about tips for a better holiday. We're not saying don't give gifts.
And you
We're
gotta
saying
give it. You
we
gotta give
got you got to give it, right? You don't want to
gotta
cause a
give the
mess
gifts,
around your house,
particularly to the little kids. You gotta give them the gifts. Yeah.
right? And what we're saying, the invitation we're creating, Gio, and I love it, is the invitation to actually look behind the gifts and see and answer the question for yourself as we're encouraging you to. What is it you really want? And then be vulnerable and ask for it. And more than likely, what you want is pretty easy to get. And what we're discovering, Gio, is that they there are some things that we end up doing as a matter of habit to get the symbols and the representations of love and connection, and then we forget how to ask. So people rarely, love itself is rarely spoken. It's always negotiated. You know, we negotiate behaviors instead of naming what we want. So, I'll say something like, hey, Jill, call me. But, if you don't call me, you don't love me. I might say to my wife, buy me this. In the background, if you don't buy me this, there's no affection and no love for me. I might say, why don't you say what you're saying a little softer, a little different, like treat me better. But never, ever am I going to open my mouth. And now I'm getting the practice of it, to open my mouth and to say, you know what? I want to experience loving you. I want to feel close to you. I want to matter to you. Those statements are crazy vulnerable, right? It's like, for me to say I want to matter to you almost implies as if I don't, but no, I do. And I'm saying we can say it out loud. I want to matter to you. And guess what, Gio? That's not under the tree, brother. Mattering to another, feeling love and experiencing love is not under the tree. And there's so many other practices that block loves. What do you see?
Yeah, I can see that for myself. And I love what this conversation is opening up. And I love what you said. It's not about don't give gifts, it's what's behind it, right? That somehow when I give something, it is the representation of my love for you. It is my representation of my love for them, for my children, for my friends, for my significant other. It does represent that. But although it represents that, it is not that. It is not love. It is not connection, right? It's not the experience of loving you. And so then there's this opportunity of asking for that. I think one of the things that you're pointing to, which I really like, is okay, so I ask for a motorcycle jacket, right? I ask for a motorcycle jacket. This is what I want. I want a motorcycle jacket. But why am I asking for that? I mean, I know I can buy it. I can buy it. So why am I asking for that? Well, because I want to be important to you. I want to feel important. Then there is discovering what the symbol represents. I want to feel important. And then there is, well, why do you want to feel important? Why do I want to feel important? Because I want connection. I want to experience loving you and you loving me. I want that. And and I know this takes a tremendous amount of courage to go beyond the normal exchange and go for the I want to experience loving you and you loving me. How would that look like? What can I do to experience that? Or what can I do? Or how could I show up? Or who could I be being for you to experience that? Let me discover that with you and have that conversation. And certainly it's going to open up some wounds. It's going to open up some past
Oh, it
unfulfilled and
might open up a
incomplete,
box of chocolates.
or it might open up a box of chocolates, but the risk of going there opens up a world that we absolutely love,
Yeah,
which is the connection, intimacy, love. And that's the thing that we're pointing to this morning, that go beyond that, still give the gift, but go beyond that and say what you really want, which we know is love, connection, intimacy. Say it and create the possibility of that and see what shows up. And
man.
find a way. I'll say this one more thing, Sorrel.
Yeah.
Find a way to have the courage to ask for it 3 times. Yesterday, Sorrel, I was at the mall, right? And there were some last minute gifts that we wanted to buy. And Maya and Manisha, her mom, they got into an argument, right? For silly things. Wear this, don't wear that. Put the jacket on, don't put that jacket on. And, as you know, Maya is 8 years old, but she has a mind of her for her own. She's going to tell you what she wants. And so she was really confronting Manisha, and then Manisha was like, I'm not having it right now. And so we had this one moment of upset, right? They had this one moment of upset. But we weren't committed to that moment of upset. I mean, we had it, but we weren't committed to that. So I was telling Maya, hey Maya, go and apologize. And Maya's like, but I didn't do anything. And I was like, but what do you really want? Do you want to stay upset, or, you want to get connected with mom? And she's like, yeah, I want my mom to have a loving day, right? That's what she said. And I said, okay, well, let's go create that. Let me tell you how to do it. And she's like, okay, how do I do that? So I tell her, okay, you gotta walk like this, a little funny way, and then you gotta do your eyes this way, and then the eyes this way, and then you have to say sorry. That's all you gotta do. It's really simple, okay? And she's like, no, I don't want to do that. It's gonna look silly. And I was like, just go for it, right? And then she says, but what if she doesn't love me back?
Ah,
What if I do that and she doesn't love me back? And then I said, it's okay. It's that you're creating it. If she doesn't do it the first time, just do it the second time. And here's what I'm going to promise you. The third time, she's going to melt. She will not be able to stay there, right? And she's like, okay. So Maya goes, sneaks up on her, does the little walk and starts doing the little eyes thing. And then she says, sorry. Obviously, Manisha melted. Obviously, the whole thing became into love, laughter, and hugs.
uh,
That's what we really want. We
that is
didn't,
totally.
not the whatever we were buying was really love. It was, or we could have bought. That was that moment of connection, love, and intimacy. Yeah, so that happened yesterday,
Oh
Sorrel.
my God, Joe, this is a Christmas gift right there. And I love what you're pointing to and what Maya demonstrated. There is what we've been saying. Go ask for it. Go say, I want to be important to you. Go say, I want to experience being loved by you. And what Maya was doing, however, is exercising giving it. So often I have my mind fixated on getting it. Where's my gift? And then when I give a gift, I I, I believe that giving the symbol is the end of it. But what Maya did was to actually create the experience of being loved for another, create the experience of being loving for herself. So maybe Gio, the holidays have no purpose whatsoever. They were made up by somebody who wanted to sell whatever. And maybe they have no purpose until I open my mouth or you open your mouth and we say something that creates an environment where connection and love can live. So there's no built-in purpose. The purpose for these holidays is created in your conversations, the conversations you have. And we can create the space where whatever the holiday is, it can be sacred. Sacred. The space itself is sacred. People can say whatever they want. People can ask for whatever they want, and you can give it whichever way you find suited to give it. Now, I guarantee you that Maya will never forget that occasion.
It was awesome. It was
And
really awesome.
forever, for the rest of her life, she knows how to give love and how to create the experience of being loved without giving something.
That's so great. Yeah, yeah.
Oh
It's
my
so
God.
Sorrel, Joelle has her hand up. I don't know if it was a
I
hand up.
know. I think Shiva had her hand up too. Shiva, did you have your hand up?
No, I didn't.
Okay, it was Joelle. Joelle, come on.
Hi, I love what my wonderful cousin Uncle Sorrel said. That's an inside joke, by the way. I love that you said it's for you. It was, it was more getting because for me, it was always more giving, but this has really it reminds me to deepen how I give. Like I have been very particular about giving people gifts that are unique to them. I strive to be a great listener or just observer of people. So my gifts usually are something associated to what they love or things I've heard them talk about. So it's gifting is a love language for me, and I do that so that they could feel seen, know that they're loved, but in receiving, that is something that for me, I'm one of those people that'll get your gift 2 months out because I wanted to take my time, find the perfect gift. And then with me, it's like, no, please don't, don't fuss, it's okay, or whatever. But in asking that, it really becomes a gift. It becomes a twofer because you let the person know how much they mean to you, and then now you can really release what you, not only what you want from them, but really show them that you love them and this is what you want to share with them. And I realize in the way I gift, what I do when I don't give people gifts, I do really let people know how I feel about them, which is the most important thing. But in saying this, it can definitely invite the moments that matter, because people may not remember certain gifts you give them, but the moments are definitely something they'll always remember. And this invites more opportunity for intentional moments to love the person and let them know that you want to matter to them. And that can be demonstrated in the time you guys spend, whether it's for a short period of time or not, because you brought that conversation in there, that element in there. And I love that because, we sometimes just believe people, we presume people just know, they know how you feel. I'm a big person of that. And I tend to really do that a lot. And that's not necessarily true, or at least really as detailed as you would think the person knows.
Mm,
So this is something that I think is a really good gift. I love that you said this because it'll remind me to not only show that person, or really have that approach in knowing what their value is, but then in really working, accepting, get receiving myself, because I think there's
yes.
something there with me being okay with, no, it's okay, don't fuss. And that's not really good for me. I should be receiving. And in what was said earlier about the when his daughter was kind of like, what, well, if she doesn't love, respond back in that way. I've learned to really deepen my giving in knowing that, okay, it's a love, it's a love that's meant for me to give. So even if it's not reciprocated in the way that I expected, it's really more about it's there for the person. So there's something about where I've elevated my giving of love that just comes back to me in such a warm way, even when it does not even when the reciprocation, or what I would hope for or imagine the reaction would be, or is not what it is, because
Mm,
it's for that person
Joey, thank
anyway.
you.
And
Thank you, Joey.
if they don't receive it the way you had in mind, you didn't really do it for that. So I've really deepened my understanding of that, because before, when the reaction wouldn't be what I anticipated
Joel,
that is great,
Joel,
or
Joelle.
hoped for, it
Joel,
used, yes.
thank you for sharing. It opened up a Pandora's box of possibility.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thank you for sharing them all. I really do, Joel. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Sorrel.
Yeah, Jill, it's the practice you created earlier that you're leaving us with, uh I'm taking away. There is the gift, like the object that I'm giving. And then in giving it or receiving it, I'm now creating the practice of asking the question, so what's behind that gift? And then asking that question maybe 3 times, in the same way that you coach Maya to do the little walk, wink her eye, and then say, I'm sorry 3 times. On the third time, it's a charm, she'll melt. So maybe there is the opportunity to ask the question 3 times. What's behind that? I might say, I want a pair of running shoes. What's behind that? Well, I want to exercise. Why do I want to exercise? I want to be healthy. Why do I want to be healthy? So I can be alive, vibrant, and be in love with you.
Mm.
You know, I'm counting on each of us having the courage this year to ask those questions and to go into those conversations and walk away experiencing the holidays in a way that we've never been.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sorrel. Thank you for being with me and having this extraordinary conversation. Thank you, all of you, for being here. Farid, Carlos, Ingrid, Rashida, Eddie, Sue, Elish, Shiva. I love you, Shiva. Spirit of the game, Rashida. All of you, we love you. We thank you. Thank you for this wonderful, wonderful year we have spent together, co-created together. In the meantime, we wish you an extraordinary, loving, juicy, chocolate leaking relationships and an extraordinary time with your family, with your friends. If you're in Atlanta and you don't got a party, you got a party at my house. Just let me know that you're coming. We got plates and food for everybody. Anyway, happy holidays, Merry Christmas. We love you. And if we don't talk
Yeah.
again, Happy New Year.
And Gio, I'll close on this note.
Yeah.
My love for you, your love for me, our love for each other is not what we exchange. Love is really what we allow ourselves to experience, isn't it? So, and we can experience all of that when we stop hiding behind the symbols. And that was today's conversation, folks. Until next time.
Thank you. Until next time. Bye-bye.